all weebs. Welcome back to For Weebs, that anime podcast. I'm Liam, and I'm joined by Leah. Say hi.
Hi.
How have you been?
I feel like that was a really pervy hello. That was like, hi. I've been okay. Busy student life, you know. But,
yeah, I feel ya.
But it was actually kind of refreshing to like watch a bunch of different anime this week. So
Yeah, I feel ya too. I hadn't been watching much anime before. I had just been like stressing out about school, but it was nice to have the anime to get back to. Also, I watched, for those of you who follow regular person movies, there's Blade Runner 2049 comes out this week, and Blade Runner's pretty sweet, so I've been following that. And the director of the new Blade Runner got these 3 kind of short films made as like prequels, and one of them is a 15-minute anime special directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, the guy behind Cowboy Bebop. So that's called Blackout 2022, and it was really good.
Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah, so if you're gonna go
want to see Blade Runner.
Yeah, it looks really good. If you're gonna see Blade Runner 2049, I recommend you check out Blackout 2022, I think it's called. It's on Warner Brothers' YouTube channel, which is nice, along with the 2 other kind of prequel things. And those are live action, but they're still good. One of them has some sweet Jared Leto action in it.
Oh, there's the real reason why Liam wants to see the movie.
Well, hey, I can't complain about a little bit of my man crush being in there.
Well, you look like him. For just so listeners know,
I'm trying to control my
Jared Leto.
I'm trying to control my ego here, okay? And it's hard because like
just
his
hairstyle, just accept it.
His hairstyle right now is like the exact same as mine, with like the long hair and the beard. So.
Oh, so he's copying you.
No, I'm pretty much copying him.
Oh.
Anyways, that's not about anime. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so Blade Runner, that'll be spicy. Also, I was thinking about, did you just call it Ruby today? That like American anime like show, the CG one. I know you've watched it.
Oh God, yes, yeah. I fucking love Ruby.
Do you just pronounce it like Ruby, even though
Ruby,
it's like spelled with a W?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's Ruby. That YouTube show called Man at Arms Reforged, where they like make swords and weapons from stuff. And they did a Ruby one today. They like the girl who has like the rapier that's like also a revolver.
Yeah, that's Ruby's weapon.
Yeah, and they made it. They made one that like actually shoots like colored powder and stuff. It was pretty ridiculous.
Oh, I know, I heard that came out and I still have to watch it and I really want to watch it.
Are you caught up with the show?
Oh yes.
Nice.
Shit's getting real. Like I said, it's the one show that like yeah, you have to get used to the CG, and once you do, you're just like, this is fucking amazing.
Is it like primarily like, it's the best part about the show just like the really well animated fight scenes? Because that's all I've really seen from it.
Yeah, actually, especially since it's CG, like the fight scenes are pretty friggin' cool. But no, the storyline's also good as well, and like the characters are enjoyable. Like it's not just strictly the like battling. Like they actually do put like content and like heart in it. I think it's I can't remember if it's the end of season 2 or season 3, where they just kind of like tear your heart out a little bit, and you're like, "Thanks, Ruby. Way to Game of Thrones me. Fuck you."
Oh boy. And is that one where like the animation quality like jumps a lot in like as the seasons
like every season? Oh yeah,
it's like going from 360p to 1080 to 4K.
Pretty much. Because you like watch the first season and you're like kind of cringing a little bit, but like I think it was like 4 dudes who literally made season 1 Ruby.
Guys from Rooster Teeth.
And then yeah, like as it got more popular, the more people they got working on it, and it was quite apparent. So but the storyline stays consistently good from like start to finish. So yeah,
I'll have
I'm
to
excited
add
for
that
the
to
new
my
season.
list.
Do it. Yeah.
I need to remember. I want to look on my anime list and see if Blade Runner 2022 is on my anime list. It probably
Mm.
is, but I'll have to do that later. I'm adding Ruby to the list right now. I know, controversy because it's not actually anime, but you know how it
Yeah,
is.
whatever. Yeah, it's still likely to be enjoyed.
All right.
It was
Well,
I was helping my friend's mom pick out some anime to watch, but the only thing she has is Netflix. So I'm just like cringing a little, like going through the Netflix anime, being like,
there's some good stuff on there.
some of it is, but like,
Okay, there's a lot of good stuff for someone who has like literally seen no anime,
that's
I
true.
guess.
That's true.
I
For
mean,
me, I'm
well,
like,
okay. Maybe there's okay anime for,
no, and there's some like really like, like they do
we had
have Attack
Kill la
on
Kill's
Titan,
on there.
Kill la Kill. Yeah, I pointed that out.
Gurren
No,
Lagann should still be on there.
yeah, yeah, it is still on
Yeah.
there. Yeah, like I pointed out all of those, but like some of them are like not necessarily the best ones to like start people off on.
Oh yeah,
Like,
and also I remember like Full Metal Alchemist, both Full Metal Alchemists are on there, I'm pretty sure, but like
yeah, which would have
Brotherhood,
been perfect.
I think the last time I checked, Brotherhood, like it was only the first 4 seasons for some reason. Like the 5th season of Brotherhood just
Mhm.
isn't on there.
I don't think any of it's on there right now, but who knows? There's
Hmm,
Canadian Netflix, there's American Netflix. Like, I
it's
don't know.
true.
Yeah.
Anime streaming's just the Wild West.
All right.
So that was some good banter.
Yeah.
Let's get
Good
back to
chat.
the episode here. So because I heard like a little bit of it mentioned over the summer, I figured it's about time we now that everything's kind of sort of wrapping up and has been rated, we could do a summer 2017 episode. And I got the idea for this episode from my friend David. Shout out to your boy David. Check him out in the Liam Goes to Otafest video. He's a cool guy. And he recommended to me a while ago that I check out Knights and Magic and Isekai Shokodo, also known as Restaurant to Another World. And I just kind of set out the rules, like watch at least one episode of each of those and then just watch whatever. Try and keep it, like 4 to 6 episodes total like we usually do. And yeah, it had some surprising results, I guess.
Yes.
Let's talk about, I'll lay out what we all watched. I watched just one episode of Knights and Magic, one episode of a Restaurant to Another World. I'll get into why I only watched one episode after, and then I watched 3 episodes of Made in Abyss, and I've got reasons for that as well. What did you watch?
So I watched one of every episode of those ones that you watched, and then I
Okay.
also watched like 1.5 episodes of. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher this. Everyone, forgive me. Mahotsukai no Yome, which is
Um,
everyone would probably recognize the picture they saw, the girl with the red hair and the guy with the his face looks kind of like a deer skull, not a deer skull, whatever, like some kind of animal
yeah,
skull.
yeah.
I'm trying to see
Oh
if
yeah,
it's got different names.
Becca
I
or
think it was
Veda sent
Becca.
us a
Yeah,
trailer
her.
of that, right? Yeah.
Oh, the Ancient Magus Bride. That's what it is. Yeah, Becca and I had both been like really looking forward to it. So, and I kind of forgot about it because life. So when you're like, let's go back and do summer 2017, and I was looking through the list and I was on there, I was like, so
Yeah, I was tempted to pick that one too, but I guess Made in Abyss just like got me.
yeah,
For a few
fair enough.
reasons. Let's talk about the ones we weren't so hot on first. Do you want to read the synopsis for Knights and Magic?
Yes. Give me a moment. Actually, I didn't really mind it, to be honest.
Yeah, it was okay.
Um, all right. Sorry, it was just loading there.
It has a 7.3.
Yeah, which I think is about right. We'll get into it. Okay. A mecha otaku is reincarnated into another world as Ernesti Ichivera, also known as, well, they made this wrong. Ernie, whatever. In this world, huge humanoid weapons known as silhouette knights exist. They're basically like Gundams, kind of. Dreaming of piloting these
They're
robots, Ari and
Gundams.
his friends, Arcade and Adultrude, aim to become night runners. It's not really like the best description, but
That's a very short synopsis.
very.
But
Basically, yeah, like the show starts off with this programming guy, and like the first half of the first episode is very short and chopped up because they're kind of like leaping through time a lot, which is a good and a bad
yep,
thing, which we'll talk about. But yeah, basically this really talented programmer, he's like trying to program to save his company. They give you quick little flashes onto like what kind of person he is, and then he gets like hit by a car, and then when he like, well,
he's
not really wakes up.
reincarnated for no apparent
Yeah,
reason.
exactly. Into this
Well,
like
he's not even
fantastically,
reincarnated.
not really, no. He's like, well, that's kind of unclear.
He's just like thrown into the body of some like 6-year-old boy or something
See, but
in
that's
a
what I was
fantasy
wondering,
world.
is if like if he is reincarnated or not, because I'm like, okay, like if you're reincarnated, you usually don't get it. Or you usually don't well, I mean, actually this is theoretical. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, don't you know what
So
happens when you get reincarnated? Jeez.
so I'm like, does the kid like did he completely bump out the rest of the kid's consciousness? Was
Yeah,
he
that he
like
just
is he
like
just
yeah.
kind of like a back subconscious thought in the kid's brain? Like, I don't know. It's kind of
I
unclear.
think we're giving the making the show more complex than it's trying to be. Like the show, it's obviously just like, you know, just a mecha show, but they're like, oh, let's give it a twist and put it in like a fantasy magic setting, and it'll just like be a Gundam with a sword or like a Gundam with a wizard staff,
Yeah, it
and
felt
there'll be cool
very,
fights with like giant bugs.
yeah, it felt very much like, when you're in like elementary and junior high and you have to do like a story web, it's almost like they started like in the middle with like what they knew they wanted their story to be, but then they're like, how do we get there? And then they just kind of like did what kind of made good enough sense and went with that. When like really they could have cut out the entire um, modern world section. They literally could have just had Ernesti being attacked in his carriage and then being like, I want to be a knight
I
or
think
whatever.
I think like the whole part at the beginning, and it was pretty rushed. I think they put in like probably the bare like minimum
Yeah.
adult character backstory that they could probably get away with, but it's like they want him to be, like the otaku, like mega mecha otaku fanboy that gets put into like the perfect world for him, and he gets to like start with a clean slate. So it's kind of like, otaku or weeb, or no, not weeb, like mecha fan, like wish
Mhm.
fulfillment. And it's just like, because that's who the show's marketed to, or it's like marketed to, the shonen crowd, and like they
Mhm.
just want to see the big robots and the magic and stuff, and it's cool and it's a big spectacle, and that's what the show's trying to be, and it's not really hiding it. So I guess that's okay. But I
Yeah,
guess all the characters and the story of it was like all pretty shallow for me, and I wasn't really inspired to watch a second episode of it.
actually, shallow is a really good word for it because you know what? It's not that I like didn't enjoy it. It's not that I don't think it wasn't good. It just, I think because of all the like flashing forward they did and all the almost like forced pushing together and everything just made it feel less like natural to me. I don't know. I can't really explain it. Like, but then on the one hand, it's also kind of refreshing that they jumped through all that beginner stuff instead of like, wasting like 4 episodes on it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it feels like pretty churned out, Maybe it
Yeah.
gets better after one episode, but screw the 3 episode rule, man. I mean, David, if I'm wrong, like, feel free to let me know if you listen to this.
Like, I think I'd be definitely willing to give it one more episode. Like, we'll see. But like, I think it's worth people to go and give it a watch. I mean, it's honestly with
If
a
it's
lot
your
of
thing, if it's
yeah,
your
if it's
thing,
your
you'll
thing,
definitely know.
yeah, if it's your thing, it's gonna be your thing, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I love this. And the animation's really great too. Only the fact that the
Yeah, the
main character looks
animation.
so female.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and they definitely comment on like his androgynousness. And
yeah,
also, their like elementary school uniforms like don't help with the androgynousness. Like what was up with those school uniforms? It's like a weird sort of dress that like everyone has to wear.
yeah.
That was
But again,
annoying.
like that's what I mean almost by the like they knew what they wanted their main point to be. So they're like, how do we get there? Okay, so obviously there's a reason they want their main character to look really feminine, right? Maybe it's just going to be an ongoing comment in the show, whatever. So they're like, okay, well, if he has to look feminine, let's just give everyone else feminine uniforms too, just to like further justify that he is allowed to wear this and look feminine or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. Yeah, Liam's like, what are you talking about?
No, I see what you mean.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
all
know.
I'm really feeling for Knights and
Yeah.
Magic.
Yeah,
It
me
was
too.
kind of like what I expected. I expected like all the effort of the show to go into like, the magic and the mech fights, which is
Hmm.
what I got. The rest of the show was a little lackluster.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It was like very, very anime-y. The
Yes.
the kid even got like also because the kid's like an adult in a kid's body. He's
Hmm.
kind of like the Mary Sue, and he like gets like the dwarf guy to craft him special
Yeah.
like gun magic wand swords that makes him totally badass. And I was
Hmm.
like, that's so anime.
Well, and again, it's one of those
Yeah.
things too, where if we were people who hadn't watched as much anime, maybe we would be more into it. I don't know, but eh. Let's talk about another one.
All right. Yeah, let's move on to Isekai Shokudo, or Restaurant to Another World, also recommended by David. I like this one a little bit more than Knights of Magic, which makes sense because it is a 7.38. So, here's the synopsis. It's longer than 2 sentences. Brace yourselves. At the bottom floor of the building with a dog signboard in the shopping district near the office street, there lies a cafeteria called Yoshiku no Nekoya, which I guess is like cat restaurant or cat cafe. I don't remember what it gets translated to in the show. Do you?
I actually don't remember. I don't even think they really say.
There's a cat on the sign. That's all that really matters.
Yeah.
Uh, it's been open for 50 years and has satisfied various salarymen from nearby offices, despite it being called a Western cuisine cafeteria. You know those salarymen, they like to have that traditional Japanese cuisine. Anyways, it provides other varieties and menus for the people of this certain world. It's their one and only special cafeteria. There is, however, one secret to Nekoya. The cafeteria is closed to the public every Saturday in order to make way for special guests. When a bell rings, customers from different places of birth and races appear to ask for mysterious and delicious dishes. They are actually the same dishes served to the salarymen, but these special guests find them to be more exotic than what they're used to. As the cafeteria aims to serve masterpieces, it is usually referred as Isekai Shokudo. And so, the bell rings again this week. That synopsis actually helped me understand the show a little bit more, I think.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I didn't read the synopsis before going in, so
I mean,
it
there wasn't.
wasn't
I
really
got the
unclear in the first place,
yeah,
but
I got the message of the show. I just wasn't
yeah.
clear on like the specific details, and I was like, okay, so the restaurant opens every Saturday to
Hmm.
like the fantasy races.
Yeah.
I wrote down notes this week for everything because I
Hmm.
felt like being fancy, but the only notes I have for this one are big old dragon titties. And then the next note is oi she.
Pretty much.
Which could also, there was also a lot of, ooh, my.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last note is maybe I should just watch Food Wars instead.
Oh my God, right?
I haven't actually seen an episode of Food.
I was just
I
like,
haven't actually. Sorry, you go.
I was like, for one, I was watching it hungry, so that didn't help.
Yeah.
And two, I
Bad
was
idea.
just like, why aren't I watching like MasterChef or Food Wars or just anything on the Food Network right now? Because it's almost like what it turned into.
Well, this one does have like a girl with cute little goat horns.
I mean, that's true.
But yeah, I haven't seen
Automatic plus 10.
an actual episode of Food Wars, but I've seen like a couple AMVs and it looks pretty like entertaining, and it's got like it's doing pretty well on Mal. But anyways, and there's
called Food Wars.
Oh, you didn't know that there's an anime called Food Wars? Yeah, no, it's you gotta check it out. It looks really intense.
Oh God, that's
so.
If it's anything like Bento, I can only imagine. Oh my God.
So, anyways, back to Isekai Shokudo. Yeah, there's a. I don't get how the restaurant's been open for 50 years though, because the guy who's working in it only looks about 40. But I guess that doesn't really matter with a show like this.
Well, and maybe his like dad owned it before him or something.
Yeah. The only thing really like plot worthy that happens in the episode, it's like he serves food to some regular people, then he's serving food to like a wizard, a lion man, and a lizard guy, and they're like arguing about like what the best side like complement to their rice is, and then he serves soup to a dragon lady, and the dragon lady like takes some soup back with her, and there's like it's kind of cute. This huge dragon is just kind of like sipping beef stew out of this tiny pot.
Wait, how much did you watch?
This is the first episode.
I think I watched the wrong episode because none of that happened for me.
Actually?
Anyways,
and then the episode ends.
A treasure hunter girl and some like blonde noble dude.
You definitely watch a different episode.
What episode did I watch?
Don't ask me, man.
And
this is
whatever one it was,
show.
I'll find out and I'll tell everyone next episode. But it was so funny because there was this part where like they're telling the girl about how like people from different, like the girl who's eating the food, they're like telling her that there's like different like godly beings basically that come in. And then I swear to God, one of the characters that walked in literally looked like the typical rendition of God. Big white beard, white robe, like just everything. And I was like, oh God. Maybe it was supposed to be Zeus. I don't know, but it was pretty funny.
What do you remember what food they had in it?
It made me think of Yuri on Ice. It was like,
did they have pork soup and croquettes?
No, they had like pork cutlets and shrimp.
Okay. I'm kind of looking through because the episodes are titled by the food they have. Oh, it looks like you watched episode 5, perhaps.
How in God's name?
No, it looks like you. No, it looks like you just watched episode 2. Minced meat cutlet and fried shrimp.
Yeah, that's it. Well, yours sounds way more entertaining. That's depressing.
Well, like the major thing that the major thing that happens just towards the end is like the goat horned girl or sheep horned girl. She's kind of like living in poverty in her world, but then she finds the restaurant door in some ruins. So she like stumbles in, and then there's this soup kind of like simmering, and she eats it all because she's starving. And then the restaurant owner comes in the morning, and he's like, "Who ate all this soup?" And she's like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "It's okay, I'll make you breakfast." And then he's like, "Here, take a shower and put on this uniform, and you can like work for me every Saturday," because she needed a job. And I was like, "All right, friendship."
That makes way more sense.
Okay.
Because like they kind of like, because the goat girl's just there, and he does say like, "Oh, she's new," so you kind of don't think about it. But then later in the episode, it like flashes back to back when it was like just the chef and he didn't have any help. And I was like, okay, well, they must explain where the goat girl comes in somehow. But I guess I missed that.
You didn't like look at the anything on the web page that said to make sure it was episode 1?
Well, I Googled episode 1 and then, well, because episode 2, like, honestly, you could start there. It's not confusing.
Yeah. That's
Like,
probably what the show's like.
yeah, I feel like it's just slowly gonna be adding more customers to the restaurant and just like telling their stories and making them fangirl over the food. Which, like, I don't know about your episode, but I did find that like a little excessive for me. When they're just like, oh, it's so delicious and blah, blah, blah. And they're like explaining the taste and the texture and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
like, oh.
I had similar problems to this one that I had with Knights and Magic, where it's just like, okay, so they have like the restaurant and he serves the fancy, like the well animated food to, you know, centaurs and dragons and shit. And they go, oh, it's so good. Oishi. And then that's like kind of the whole show.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Like, that's literally a good chunk.
And then that led me to my last comment where maybe I should just watch Food Wars. That would probably be like a more entertaining, like if I wanted to see an anime with like very well animated food, like Food Wars looks like it would just be like scratch the same itch but be better.
Like, so before I realized now that I watched episode 2, I might have said like I maybe would have watched one more because like the concept is interesting. And if I thought that they were going to go more like plot wise and less about the food, I'd actually probably be like fairly interested. But if both episodes have been like that so far, then like probably not. But again, it's some people enjoy that kind of thing, especially if you're a little more like slice of lifey or whatever. Like, and again, beautifully animated. Like, I don't know about you, but like all the animes I watched are like everyone's like stepping up their animation game in the summer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna talk about that like more in the next one too. Do we have anything else to say about Restaurant to Another World?
Nah, it was all right.
Yeah, it was okay.
Yeah.
It didn't. Yeah, it's kind of like I don't feel like talking about much anymore, just because of like I really enjoyed Made in Abyss. I guess.
Yeah,
that was like the only one I care about. Before we talk about that, though, because Made in Abyss we both watched, so let's do that one last, and let's hit up that last other one that you watched.
Okay. One moment here. I was not prepared to say it so soon, but I have it up.
You are not prepared.
I'm not prepared.
That was a World of Warcraft Burning Crusade quote there.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god. And it disappeared. I'm sorry, listeners. I'm just
this great radio.
Not report. Oh yeah, I'm a professional. Professional weep. While I'm looking it up here, yeah, this anime, I'm sure a lot of people have probably started watching it by now. Becca and I were both pretty excited for it. And then I kind of got busy with life and stuff and didn't get to it for a while, but now I did, so I'm happy. I watched 1.5 episodes, and yeah, it's the Mahou Tsukai no Yome, and it got 8.6 on Mao. Okay. Hattori Chise is only 16, but she's lost far more than most. With neither family nor hope, it seems all doors are closed to her. But a chance encounter began to turn the rusted wheels of fate. In her darkest hour, a mysterious magus appears before Chise, offering a chance she couldn't turn down. This magus, who seems closer to demon than human, will he bring her the light she so desperately seeks, or drown her even deeper in shadows? So there's no one like particularly production wise that stands out to me, but like if you watch it, you definitely get like kind of like Studio Ghibli meets like, I don't know why I can always forget this director's name, the one who does like Summer Wars and Wolf Children and is it Mokoto Shinkai? I'll just look it up right now. Keep talking. I always forget. So animation wise, you definitely get like a lot of vibes like that, and it is very
Mamoru Hosoda.
Yeah, there we go. Definitely very like fantasy kind of whimsical, but also yeah, like a little. I could see how it'll get a little dark potentially.
All
Um,
right.
the main character reminds me a lot of Liam. You will not have seen this, but Shirayuki Hime, Snow White with the red hair is what it's called.
Oh,
Similar animation, and the main characters look almost like exactly the same. But so if you enjoyed Snow White with the red hair, you'll probably love this anime. Just saying. Um, I don't know. It's pretty cool. It starts off with her like you see her when she's 16 and her just kind of like learning a bit of like magus stuff from her like instructor who has like his head looks like a skull like of some kind of animal basically. And then there's also this guy who like turns into a dog and he has like dogs like mannerisms which are pretty funny. So if he's in human form, he'll like look out the window and be like, "We should go for a walk." It's just like kind of cute. The part that I really enjoyed was more like when you get later on in the episode or episode 2 is it shows so when she was a little girl, basically her mother said, "I never should have had you," and then jumped off the building. Like so her mom committed suicide basically. And then she gets like put in with this like family who just like agreed to take care of her, but it doesn't go very well because she can see these she sees things. It's almost like Holic or Noragami. She sees like weird black slimy creatures and spirits and whatever, and like obviously they scare her. So she just acts really weird and everyone thinks there's something wrong with her. And then one day she like one surprises her, whatever, she runs into the forest and she finds this library. And then she meets the librarian who kind of like takes her under his wing. And basically I think the librarian ends up being the same person you flash forward to, like her magus instructor, the one whose head is like a skull.
Oh yeah.
I could be wrong. I don't know. Haven't found out yet. But yeah, so it sounds kind of more like a serious thing. But no, it's really good. I really like it. Animation is absolutely beautiful. Like,
is it like it's like well drawn, but it's like the animation does have really good flow as well?
Oh yeah, no, like the animation is just like I'm trying to think of something to compare it to, but it's just really, really, really pretty.
Nice.
That's all I have to say.
Sweet.
So yeah, if you're into like the fantasy genre at all, yeah, definitely watch it. I think it says it's shonen, but I truly think it definitely is probably aimed a little more to a female audience, personally. But I can't speak for what everyone likes. I wouldn't necessarily call it shoujo, but I just feel like a females might be a little more likely to enjoy the show, but I can be completely wrong. So I just think everyone should watch it and give it a try. So.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was that called again?
Oh my gosh, Leah. Make me say it again.
No, I'm actually asking because I'm going to write it down.
Yeah. Well, in English, The Ancient Magus Bride.
That's good enough.
Oh, okay. There. Yeah.
Just so I can look it up later.
Mahotsukai no Yome. Yeah.
That wasn't too bad.
Nope. Although I think I've said it differently the 3 times I've said it throughout the podcast.
Fair.
So, yeah. And this one allegedly is getting 24 episodes. I don't know if it's completed. Nice. But... Yeah.
Well, shall we move on to the final summer 2017 one? Okay. So I picked this one. Well, after I watched Restaurant to Another World and Nights and Magic, I wasn't sure where to go next. So I kind of just looked at the summer 2017 chart and then arranged it by like highest rated first. And there was one I tried to watch it after watching an episode of Made in Abyss, and it was called Violet Evergarden, but apparently that's going to be like a winter 2018 anime.
I did,
but there was just like
exact same thing.
Yeah, but there's like 2 episodes that just got released at a convention, but they were kind of hard to find. I did see some trailers for that, and it it looks pretty aesthetic, pretty spicy. So I'm gonna check that out in like winter 2018. So stay tuned for that, I guess.
Yeah, I did the exact same thing, and then I was like pretty bummed when I clicked on it and was like, "Oh wait, that's not a thing yet." Goddamn.
Yeah, because it looks really good, right? And
Hmm.
it's animated by Kyoto Animation, and they did Kobayashi's Dragon Maid and Hibike Euphonium, I believe. Also, Your Lie in April, I believe.
Yeah.
People can correct me if. Yeah. So a little tidbit for you there. But then I also saw Made in Abyss. I don't remember which number it was on the list, but it's got a 8.86, which is pretty high. It's like ranked number 24, like on my anime list, which is pretty good. And I had heard of it before because I know Digibro was like doing a weekly podcast with it. He did it last season with Arrow Manga Sensei, and he did that like ironically because that show was like just really fan servicey and bad, and he hated it. But he was doing it this season. I haven't watched or listened to any of them, but I'm like, oh, if Digibro's watching it, like that'd be cool for me to check out. So I picked it, watched an episode, and was pleasantly surprised. And yeah, then I watched 3 total. And then I recommended Leah watch it too.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I made sure I watched it because I couldn't remember. I was like, did he like really insist I watch this?
No, I didn't like insist. I was like, I watched this and it was pretty good. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
So
All
I
right.
guess I should do the synopsis for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Abyss, a gaping chasm stretching down into the depths of the earth, filled with mysterious creatures and relics from a long time past. How did it come to be? What lies at the bottom? Countless brave individuals known as divers have sought to solve the mysteries of the abyss, fearlessly descending into its darkest realms. The best and bravest of the divers, the White Whistles, are hailed as legends by those who remain on the surface. Riko, daughter of the missing White Whistle, Liza the Annihilator, aspires to become like her mother and explore the furthest reaches of the abyss. However, just a novice Red Whistle herself, she is only permitted to roam the uppermost level. Even so, Riko has a chance encounter with a mysterious robot with the appearance of an ordinary young boy. She comes to name him Reg, and he has no recollection of the events preceding his discovery. Certain that the technology to create Reg must come from deep within the abyss, the two decide to venture forth into the chasm to recover his memories and see the bottom of the great pit with their own eyes. However, they know not of the harsh reality that is the true existence of the abyss. So, what were your first impressions of this?
Honestly, my first impression was when I went on Mal just to find it and kind of see what it was about, and just seeing the cover picture for it, and I saw how the characters look. They're not chibi, but they're
kind of a mix of chibi and moe.
Yeah,
maybe,
but then
not moe is not the best word. Very square heads.
Yeah, exactly. Yet really pretty and different, but
very kawaii.
Yeah. But then that said, that was actually giving me red bells, being oh, I probably won't like this, because we all know I don't really like magical girls. I don't really do a lot of chibi stuff. I don't, like the cute kawaii. But so I was pleasantly surprised.
It was a red flag for me too.
Yeah. So I was really pleasantly surprised when I started watching it that was far from the case. Which I kind of figured. I don't think Liam would have liked this as much if it was some cutesy thing.
Yeah, it was the art style really, or the style the characters really grew on me, I guess. Maybe it's because the protagonists are all children, 12 years old, and yeah, so they're definitely animated very, or drawn very to look very kawaii and stuff, but it was good. And just the background art, or the art of the abyss and the cruel creatures in it, gave off some Legend of Zelda vibes and a little bit of Studio Ghibli vibes for me, you know. and it was all like really pretty. And the whole concept of the show I thought was like really neat. I was very intrigued because it's basically like this big island in the middle of the ocean, or it seems like it's in the middle of the ocean. And then the abyss, like the big chasm, is like 1 kilometer wide, and then like there's a big ring around the chasm that's like this big city that's just kind of sprung up around the chasm. And I thought that was just really cool. There's this whole like city that's like sprung up around the abyss just because like so many people explore it and like go relic hunting. And that kind of gave me like a Monster Hunter vibe. If you've ever played any of the Monster Hunter games, there's lots of like cool fantasy stuff like that.
Yeah, the whole thing actually gave me a bit of a game vibe in general. Like, it kind of almost reminded me of like a Nintendo DS game or something. Like as far as how the characters look.
Yeah, this would make a sweet game.
Yeah, it really would actually.
I wonder if it's adapted from anything. I'm gonna check if it's adapted from anything. Doesn't. I don't think so. Oh wait, it is an adaptation of a manga. Okay, so that's not super surprising. The manga was from 2012. But wait, it says volumes unknown, chapters unknown. Okay, this is another rabbit hole to go down at some point, I guess. If it was like adapted from a video game, I'd be like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But so yeah, and I really liked the way the characters were written. I guess like maybe it's because I had just watched the restaurant show and Knights and Magic, where the characters felt like pretty hollow and like shallow. So like the characters in this show are like way more interesting. Even like the side characters that were brought up, like her teacher and like the kid who's like the little brother of someone at the orphanage. Like even they were really interesting. And then when you get to the main characters of Rico and Reg the robot, they're like I'm like just rooting for them now. And
can I just say I love their like their classroom, like how they're
it's like vertical
because they're climbers, right? So like their desks are literally all stacked like on the wall going upward, so they're like
they have to like
air.
Yeah, when that part happened, I was like, what? How was that efficient at all?
I know,
but I guess you said they're like climbers, so
yeah. But even still, I'm like, well, that's really shitty for the ones who have the top desk. And they all just freaking hop down like it's no big deal. And I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, it must be so hard to like see the chalkboard from the top as well. Yeah. Maybe it's because they don't want the kids to be afraid of heights. I don't know.
Acclimatize. You have no choice.
Also,
the whole concept was just like interesting and refreshing in general. Like, and then coupled with the anime style, like I try and think of something I could like compare it to, and I kind of can't. So
yeah, it was really cool. The one like note I did write down was like a pretty funny moment. It's like after they like kind of use electricity to like wake up the robot boy, because they like find him down below, and they like bring him, like sneak him into the orphanage that they live. And then they're like when Riku has this like speech about like she examined like his body, and she says stuff like, oh well, his skin is like soft to the touch, but like it's immune to fire, and it like can't be pierced with a drill. He's got like 2 robot hands, but then he's like, but his like penis looks like a regular penis, but I couldn't see inside his butthole. I stuck a ruler up there just to check, but it broke. And then Reg is like, you did what? And I thought, I was like, oh, that was pretty hilarious. And then she's like, don't worry, I took the ruler out. I was like, oh, that's, yeah. That scene was just like a bit of a shock, but pretty funny. Just like innocent. It's like, oh, I was like, he's a robot. I was checking out his body. And she had like detailed notes on everything.
Well, and I think it's kind of like Erased. I know you didn't like Erased, or you weren't like as crazy about it as I was, but I just like that even though the main characters are technically children or like youth, they're not like they're a realistic version of what youth
Yeah.
and 12-year-olds are like, right? You don't feel like you're being spoon-fed the fact that they're children, but they're obviously not adults either. Because honestly, like
Yeah.
I remember when I first started watching the episode, and you see the girl and the guy, like I was actually trying to gauge what her age was because I wasn't sure if it was like a stylistic choice that she looked like a kid, but actually she's like an adult, or
Yeah, it's hard
is
to
she a
tell with
kid?
anime
Yeah.
sometimes.
So until you see the, teachers, the instructors who are obviously like look like full grown and taller adults, and I was like, okay, so she is young. But
Yeah, they're kind of like your standard anime character.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know how much I want to talk about the plot for this one because I feel like people should just watch it. It's very interesting. Like the main character, her like the synopsis that her mom is like a very famous uh, cave diver or whatever they're called, and the robot boy is like still a mystery after the third episode, and like there's like a few scenes that like establish the fact that like even he definitely doesn't know what he is, and he's kind of like, why do I exist, why am I here? But that
Hmm.
like these kids are pretty cool, I'm gonna hang out with them because he acts like a kid too, like the same age. And then by the end of the third episode, I'm just like really excited to like just see more of the abyss and just like see what kind of adventures they're gonna get on, because they have one shot where there's like a detailed map of the abyss kind of drawn out, and it looks really interesting, and some of the stuff that Riku like kind of talks about, or like they mention like, oh, that's where like the inverted forest is, or like everything's upside down. And they also talk about like all the different like side effects and how dangerous it gets, like depending on which level of the abyss you go down to. And it was
Yeah.
just I was just it was a lot more interesting than I thought it was gonna be.
So I just wanted to make sure I like understood it right. Like, so is her mother dead, or is she alive, or is it one of
It's
those like she's lost in the abyss and they don't know?
she's like missing in action,
Yeah.
so
Mm.
of course like the girl, she like believes she's alive, but everyone's like kind of doesn't want to tell the 12-year-old girl that her mom's dead.
Yeah.
But like her mom is also like a hero of the nation sort of. But
Hmm.
I'm sure it'll be answered by episode 13, or maybe it won't. I don't know. It's only 13 episodes, so
Really? That's
yeah.
depressing. To me, it seems like one
I'm
that would get 24.
yeah. Well,
Might
yeah.
get a
Mal
season
says
two.
it's got 13.
Hmm.
I'm definitely gonna watch more of this one.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep going on that one. I'm going to keep going on that one, and I'm going to keep going on the one that I watched, and
Nice.
the Magus Bride or whatever.
Also, something surprising: Made in Abyss is rated R.
Really?
So
Why? Does it say?
I guess it just says rated R for violence and profanity.
Mm.
So I
Wait.
guess I'll watch more and let you know how that goes.
Hmm. All right.
Cool. All right, so we're both gonna watch a bit more of these. Think it was a successful episode then. I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna
I
check out DigiBro's videos on Made in Abyss because I'm interested to see what he
think.
thinks of it. And yeah,
Overall, I think like the summer season, like even just watching these four, like none of them were like, ugh, well, that was bad. Like actually, like pretty much
yeah,
enjoyed all of them, some more than others. So I think it was a pretty like strong season. It like makes me look forward to um the fall winter seasons a little more. Just because I don't know, I found some of I think it was the spring season where I was kind of like, eh, but this one had like quite a few that at least caught my attention. So yeah.
well, yeah, and like Boku no Hero Academia was still going
Hmm.
over the summer, And Boku no Hero Academia is even getting a 3rd season, so that's turning out to be quite a hit, I guess.
Jeez. Nice.
Yeah.
I know I really gotta keep
So,
going on that.
what's our topic for next episode?
Okay. So I have the good one picked out, and for the bad, I'm debating between two of them, and I just don't know how mean I want to be. Because one is definitely going to be like a ridiculous kind of thing, and then another one
Okay.
won't. Like one's ecchi. Actually, they're both ecchi. Hmm. Okay, F or M, Liam?
F or M?
Yeah, pick a letter.
Oh, jeez. I'm gonna go with F, I guess.
Okay. Probably a good choice.
I have no idea what this means.
Okay. It was the titles of the two bad animes I was trying to pick between. You picked the better of the two.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll start with a bad one then, just to like get you out of suspense here. This technically isn't really like a bad anime. It's just not as quote unquote good as the good one. Anyway, so hopefully you haven't seen either of these. So for the bad one, we have Freezing.
Freezing?
Freezing.
Okay.
And our genres here are action, sci-fi, harem, drama, romance, martial arts. Okay. It's got a 7.15 on Mal. Okay. Decades into the future, humanity is under siege by an alien race known as the Novas. These inhuman beings leave devastation in their wake whenever they appear, with the efforts to stave them off becoming known as Nova Clashes. Young women known as Pandoras and young men known as Limiters are implanted with stigmata to give them superhuman powers and are trained in military academics, where they must learn to work together if humanity is to save. Oh my god, I can't fucking read today. They need to learn to work together if they want to have a chance of surviving.
I mean, we've had some pretty bad synopses, but like...
Well, you know what? This isn't a synopsis. This is all me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this is like a whole new level of performance.
I'm so sorry. My brain is fried. Okay, anyway, Freezing tells the story of Kazuya Aoi as he sets out for his first day at West Genetics Military Academy, right when a battle royale is being undertaken by the Pandoras. And we'll just stop there. Yeah.
This sounds very anime-like.
Yes, I think so too. And the main character is very, very breasty and voluptuous. So
Oh boy.
that should be enjoyable. But that said, I've always actually wanted to give Freezing a try because there's actually a lot of people who really, really like it.
Okay.
So
I've never
interested
heard
to
of
see
it.
how it goes. I think once you see a picture of it, you might be like, oh. Okay.
Okay.
And then the good one, which hopefully you have not seen, is Claymore.
I haven't seen it, but that one I've actually heard of.
It's got a 7.89 on Mal. Okay, I'm going to read a synopsis and not butcher it. Promise.
All right.
Okay. When a shape-shifting demon with a first thirst for human flesh known as Yoma arrives in Reiki's village, a lone woman with silver eyes walks into town with only a sword upon her back. She's a claymore, a being manufactured as half human and half Yoma, for the express purpose of exterminating these monsters. After Reiki's family is killed, the claymore saves his life, but he is subsequently banished from his home. With nowhere else to go, Reiki finds the claymore, known as Claire, and decides to follow her on her journeys. As the pair travel from town to town, defeating Yoma along the way, more about Claire's organization and her fellow warriors comes to light. Yeah.
Sounds pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me think of Cabaneri, the Iron Fortress, just because the Cabaneri characters are like half the zombie, half the person or whatever. But I think I've just heard of this before. Never really like read what it was about, but it sounds like the kind of show I could be into.
Yeah, it's like one for me anyway. Yeah, like ever since really watching anime, I've always kind of like heard about it. It's from 2007. But yeah, I've just never.
That was a good year for anime.
That was a good year for anime. That was actually almost the theme I made us do. I was like, oh, we did fall 2017. Let's go do fall 2007.
Oh, I see.
But there actually wasn't as much good stuff in the fall. I think it was more of a summer thing. But yeah.
All right. Well, I look forward to watching those. We'll see
good.
how spicy they get.
Yeah, you're like, spicy. You're lucky.
Spicy is just like the word I throw on everything now.
Well, you're going to be happy probably that you didn't pick the other bad one, but I might keep that one in my pocket for later.
Okay, I won't ask then. I'll let you save it.
Sounds good. All right. Social media plug. Please don't make me do it. I can't even read.
I'll do it. Don't worry, I'll do it. Like us on Facebook, and you can get updated on our episodes, or you can use Podbean, iTunes, or whatever podcast app you choose. We've got a few videos on YouTube if you want to check those out. And in the description for the podcast on Podbean, there are links to our My Anime List profiles. Feel free to reach out to us there. Ask us what our favorite color is, or etc. Whatever, man. You do you. And as always, thanks for listening.
Thank you for
Good night.
putting up with my horrible reading. Good night.
It's fine. It's fine.